Hello, everyone. I'm ZHAO Chuang. Today, we are going to draw the body of Sinraptor. When drawing the body of Sinraptor, we first need to think of a movement that can well present its feature. As it had a short body, we can design a movement such as it lifted its leg to run forward. When it lifted its leg to stretch forward, its body would look shorter, so we can better show the feature. Let's draw it with a wide open mouth to show the fierceness of this carnivore. We can draw its neck slightly upward, making it S-shaped. The shape of its tail can also be presented by the side view. When we draw an animal, especially in an imaginary scene, we can try our best to design a posture and angle that can show its main characteristics. Now let's draw the body of Sinraptor. Let's first determine the position of its body in the picture. The forefront of its head is here, and the end of its tail is about here. Its back may stand upward. We can draw it within this area so that the composition will look better. Then let's determine the positions of its various parts. Its tail accounted for half length of its body, so we draw its tail till here. We'll draw a Sinraptor as it was walking in this direction with its head turned and its mouth open. After determining the position of its tail, the front half of its body can be divided into 4 sections. The length of its head was about the same as that of its neck. Its neck was roughly as long as its trunk. Its trunk might be a little longer than its neck. Its pelvis was a little shorter than its trunk. Thus we can set its trunk longer. Let's first divide it equally into 4 sections. Then we can make the middle section for its trunk longer. After that, let's begin to draw its head. We first draw its mouth. Its mouth looked as if it was smiling. Before its mouth was its nose, the overall upper part of which was an arc. The upper part of its head was an arc. At the front and rear of its eyes, we draw a small bulge. The upper part of its nose was covered by a layer of keratin, which was forked. Its nostrils were in the lower position. Next, let's draw its small and round eye. At the back of its eyes, we can draw some big scales. Its eyes were at the highest position. The back of its skull tilted downward. This is the boundary between its skull and its neck. Here, we can draw its ear hole. At the rear of its eyes, we can slightly outline the temporal fenestra. Then we outline its and orbital fenestra, the front of its eyes. A little forward below its eyes, there were the muscles in its mouth. At this point above them, there was a hole that accommodated the muscles when it closed its mouth. Then, let's draw the contour of its lower jaw. Coinciding with that of its upper jaw, it was a curved and S-shaped structure too. The front of its lower jaw was blunt. Backward, the end of its lower jaw was longer than the upper part of its skull. Here, we can draw some muscles. After that, let's draw its teeth. The first two teeth were very small. The third and fourth teeth were very big. Then, its teeth began to become smaller. The teeth here were relatively long. They gradually became smaller and stopped in the middle of its mouth. Let's draw its lower teeth similarly. Next, let's draw its tongue. Within the positions we determined at the beginning, we can draw some saliva it produced when it opened its mouth. Next, let's draw its neck. We need to draw an S-shaped neck. The upper part of its neck was also S-shaped. On both sides of its neck, let's draw some muscles. Here, we draw a layer of soft skin, followed by its throat downward. Backward, let's draw its back. Its back protruded upward. Here were its pelvis and sacral vertebrae. Then let's outline its shoulder blades and shoulders. Here, we draw its armpits. Next, let's draw its thigh. Knee, shank, and the muscles on its shank. Then let's draw its foot. Here, we draw its ankle, the sole, and the 3 toes with which it used to walk. Under its toes, let's draw thick pads. After that, we draw its first toe. Now let's draw its short forelimbs. We draw its upper arm, forearm, and 3 fingers with claws. Next, let's draw its belly. Between its thigh and trunk, we can draw some folds caused by the squeeze as it kicked its leg forward. Here, let's draw the other arm. Here were its pubis and ischium. Now let's draw the other leg. From this angle, what we can see is mainly the muscles on its shank at the back. Then let's draw its ankle, the sole, and the first toe. After that, let's draw the 3 toes that it used for walking. We can only see 1.5 toes with which it walked, as they are blocked from this angle. Then let's draw the pads under its foot. Backward, let's draw its tail. On the dorsal side of its tail, let's draw an S shape. Then let's draw the ventral side of its tail. The end of its tail was very thick. In the middle part, it rapidly became very thin. After that, let's draw the end of its tail. Next, let's draw the muscles on its tail. On both sides of its trunk, we can slightly draw some structural lines to show its skin texture. Then, let's outline the muscles on its back. We can draw some folds on its neck. And some shadows on its throat. On both sides of its trunk, we can draw some small spots to represent small scales, and big ones between them. Lastly, starting from its neck, we draw some spikes along its back. And extend them to its tail. To show the ground, let's slightly draw some shadows and dust. Good, like this, we've finished drawing the body of Sinraptor.